Have you already experienced an economic crisis? For me, not so much. In 2008, I was still too young to really worry about it, so seeing the signs of an economic downturn definitely worries me, as it will be the first one I will actually really live through. And it does make you wonder about all the little things that will change as you try to save up more, preparing yourself for hard times, financial instability, and job insecurity. What are the things that you would save on? Some larger items seem obvious. Vacations would be minimized or fall flat entirely. The 10-year-old TV wouldn't be replaced, and buying a PS5 is out of the question. But to really save up a lot, skimming on these luxuries is not the way to go. And quickly, other day-to-day items will have to give way to cheaper alternatives. Veggies will be bought frozen, not fresh. Instead of baguette, you buy toast, and the name brand shampoo stays on the shelf while you don't even glance at the new line of lipstick because it's not necessary. Or do you? What if I told you that an economic recession is exactly the time that lipstick sales skyrocket? Don't believe me? Well, then definitely keep watching this video because the lipstick index is really quite fascinating. Welcome to Rebel Economics, where today we look at the correlation between the amount of makeup sold and an oncoming economic crisis. I know it sounds crazy, but there actually really is a sound logic behind that. So, why does it sound so contradictory that makeup sales would go up during a recession? Well, that's fairly clear. People fear for their money. Jobs become less secure during a recession. As companies go through a hard time, they have to cut expenses at every corner, and salaries are just one of the first things to go. This was seen in the 2008 crisis, where just in the last 4 months, 1.9 million people in the US lost their jobs. And that number continued to rise as the recession went on the following years. Only 3.5 years after the start of the recession did the economy recover. When people have less income or are afraid of losing their jobs, and many essentials, first and foremost oil prices, surge to record levels, it is obvious that household expenditures would be reined in. Saving was the key tenet during the crisis, so anything that is not necessary, like vacation, a new phone, or smaller things like freshly pressed orange juice for Sunday brunch, or even, yes, makeup, would go down. And that is true in most cases. Yet, makeup goes against this trend of cutting unnecessary costs. Instead, more makeup is being bought. This is explained by the lipstick index, a term coined by Leonard Lauder in the early 2000s, who, incidentally, is the heir to Estee Lauder Cosmetics. The theory is the counterpart to the conventional wisdom of saving up in times of economic hardship. It tells the tale of small luxuries. When you can't or know you shouldn't afford large luxury items like handbags or jewelry, people seek smaller ways to make themselves feel good. And one small ticket item that can have a great effect over multiple days is makeup. Every time you wear it, it makes you feel a little bit better. And we all need small things in our everyday lives that give us a little boost to keep going for another day. Now, I may not be the ideal woman to talk about this because the only lipstick I own I got from my flatmate 5 years ago and have scarcely used since, but looking at all those makeup tutorials that keep popping up on my Instagram, I can definitely see how the lipstick index theory might be true. The theory first started out in 2001. The US economy was in the throes of a recession, which was when Lauder noticed that lipstick sales were actually rising, not falling. Out of this sprung the idea that lipstick sales and the health of the economy were actually inversely proportionate to one another. So as the economy gets worse, lipstick sales get better. In 2001, the increase in lipstick sales had been at around 11%. And while that was the first time the potential correlation was realized, it was not the first time it happened. In fact, makeup sales also jumped in the late 1920s and early 30s as America entered the Great Depression. And, of course, in our most recent history, the 2008 crisis, the same could be seen. The world's largest cosmetic brands, L'Oreal, Beiersdorf, and Shiseido, reported a sales boost in 2008 as the US headed into an economic recession. L'Oreal, for example, experienced a 5.3% increase in sales in the first half of the year, and the German company Beiersdorf never actually laid off any employees during the 2008 crisis. as their sales boomed while over 6 million jobs were lost in the rest of the country. Of course, it is not all about cosmetics. There are other small ticket items that people tend to, especially since we also have to consider men who are less likely to splurge on lipstick. So when looking at the overall sector of personal products, the statistics are incredible. A 2008 article by The Guardian states that the lipstick effect shows up in stock market performance, with the European personal product sector outperforming the broader market by an average of 100% in each of the 3 past recessions of the early 1980s, early 1990s, and early 2000s. And the same could be seen in 2008. The article was written in December of that year, noting that this index has already outperformed the broader market by 45%. So while the term lipstick index is definitely catchier than personal products index, it is definitely important to remember that we do not only refer to lipstick. The most obvious example of this was seen in 2021, where the economic downturn was obviously brought on by the global health crisis. With everyone wearing masks, lipstick was clearly not the way to go when it comes to affordable luxuries. So instead, people turned to fragrances. Sales were up 45% in the first quarter of 2021 compared to the year prior, and were higher than in pre-pandemic times. The psychology behind that is escapism, finding a way to release ourselves from our day-to-day worries and lifting our spirits as we live through an especially dark time in our lives. And as soon as the mask came off again, the lipstick sales skyrocketed. A Forbes report from June 2021 shows that there has been an increase of over 80% compared to the prior year. Makes sense, since in 2020, we all still covered our faces, making lipstick not just unnecessary because no one can see it, but also really impractical as it will just end up smeared all over the inside of the mask. But clearly, people have missed lipstick as a way of escaping from the little worries and are doubling down as the economic situation continues to look poorly, but the bright red lips can be finally seen again. So now that we know the correlation between makeup sales and economic recessions, you might ask if the lipstick index can also be used to predict a recession. Well, no. For one, while there's a lot of data to support the theory, it is not so etched in stone that we can definitely say that when the sales of a personal product rises, that we are entering an economic recession. During times of growth, there can also be significant rises in the selling of makeup and other such products. Also, the trend we see tends to be that this happens during a recession, but not so much prior to it. People alter their spending habits when the recession has already hit, or at least the indicators are strong enough that people believe a recession is coming for sure. Therefore, there are many other indicators that lend themselves far better to detecting oncoming recessions. So in many ways, the lipstick index may better represent the outlook which people have on the economic of the future. This is very visible nowadays too. US data shows that lip products were the fastest growing makeup product from January to June 2022, with revenue rising 28% in the second quarter. As many Americans have a dim outlook on the economy, the lipstick index is taking effect once more. As I was researching and recording this video, I kept thinking of my own personal products and what I splurge on in times of economic hardship. Do you have anything you think you spend your money on to lift your spirits? If so, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching Rebel Economics. I really appreciate every single view, like, and subscription. So if you enjoy the video, please do like and subscribe. We are still a young and growing channel, so your support means the world to us. If you want more of our content, check out another video that talks about crazy economics, like the one about video games, for example, or the crazy economics of dictatorships. Thanks so much for watching, and see you guys soon here in Rebel Economics.